Come here, son, nephew, young man. Let me holler at you. All right, so I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, um, but I couldn't quite find the right moment to do it. Sorry, I can't get this uneven bend out of this cap. Oh well. Anyway, um, rap music started out as a way to communicate messages to masses of black folks, but as with many things, it has become co-opted and corrupted into a tool that's been weaponized and used not only for it's been transformed into an unpure art form in many cases. Let me rephrase that. It's been used in unpure ways and destructive ways. And what ends up happening nowadays, and this kind of started with the whole Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac thing, where people who are a member of one type of group in society are grouped against others, but through poverty and then some of the other unscrupulous things that have been inserted into the black community, such as drugs, because ain't no black folks got access to boats and planes to bring drugs in. These crates of weapons that just show up out of the blue in alleys in Chicago, for example. People say, "What about Chicago?" I say, "Well, what about those people who I won't mention who insert the pieces to the evil monopoly game that's played with those folks?" But I digress. But how about this? When somebody says, if you say, "Well, what about Chicago? What about the black on black crime in Chicago?" I was just watching a video of two white guys in the trailer park beating the crap out of each other. Crime is a phenomenon of proximity. So in other words, black folks commit crimes against black folks, whites against whites, Chinese against Chinese. It happens. You just some groups get more publicized, and the media is right there to show up to talk about one group and put the microphones out there. And they always choose the most ignorant people too. You could have a college professor, a teacher, scientist or something one place, and then you got the most ignorant person that you can find, and they go that way to interview that person. Anyway, so now what's happening is, if you go to this guy named Ayo Canseco, he has a channel called The Rap Trap, and it's a very good thesis in which basically he has cited that, these music artists, the positive music is not promoted. The positive artists are not promoted. The negative artists are promoted and funded. There's insurance put on them, so if they die, someone cashes in on their death. They get put in these awful 360 deals. I don't even know why a rapper would sign with a label at this point anyway, but okay. So the trap is, the more dangerous and deadly and violent you are, the more money you can possibly make being a rapper. But is your life worth it? And for some people, apparently it is. But I'm so proud of J. Cole for saying, you know what? I see what the media wants. I see what some people who are not true fans of hip hop want. And they want a back and forth war in it's supposed to stay lyrical, but it could stay that way. It could not. But you'll never know, because J. Cole was smart enough to say, I'm not going to be exploited. Now, I'm calling this video an example of not being exploited, because this doesn't just happen in rap music. I'm going to give you a perfect example. One school I used to work at as an assistant principal, the principal pretty much had me do all the work and he stayed in his office, which, okay, as a young man looking for some opportunity, hey, I get it. I need to, I had to earn my stripes. I had to pay my dues. But here's the problem. In particular, the school could be violent. They wouldn't take my paperwork to put certain kids out because certain kids were related to certain people and had certain privileges. And what ended up happening was when things would get violent, the principal would walk the other way and leave me many times by myself to quell borderline riots. And I started to notice that, and then one particular day, I got caught up in a situation where two kids were trying to jump on one kid. I was able to intercept one, so at least the kid that was about to get jumped at least had him a fair fight and a chance to defend himself, because, you know, although we don't promote fighting in schools, hey, it still happens, okay? So this kid tried to punch me. I'm not going to say what happened, but the local sheriff didn't deem my response as inappropriate, and I wasn't charged with anything. But I learned, okay, I'm being exploited here. And what's going to happen, I'm going to have to back away from some situations. Now, it's tough as an educator, especially a school administrator in that particular case, which I'm not anymore, because I'm not interested in the politics anymore that come with school administration. However, what I had to learn was, okay, I can't be exploited here. You're not going to use me as a mule, as a bodyguard, as a referee, while you go and keep yourself safe. And then, see, the other thing with that kid attacking me, the principal actually was looking for people to make statements against me, to file charges against me, or substantiate the charges that the family was trying to bring against me, you know. And we got to stop that stuff where we taking these kids who are just rotten to the fucking core, and we trying to say, oh, well, little Bobby, little Billy, little Tyrone, he's just a misguided soul. He pulled an AK and shot up 50 people and been selling dope and punching on teachers, or at least trying to, because he's a great kid. Hey, man, fuck all that. We're not doing that. All right, so look, what I had to learn was not to be exploited. So when those things would happen, I would get on the radio. Hey, Mr. Principal, sir, we got a situation going on in here. I'm by myself, so I'm going to just have to back away a little bit until I get some help. But see, as an educator, you can't just let the kids hurt themselves. You can get sued for that, but you can't be overly aggressive. You can get sued for that. So you have to kind of pick your spots. But it wasn't going to be me just being the only person who's putting themselves in a line of danger, and then, you know, I'm by myself, I can't watch my back, that type of thing. So here's another situation. A friend of mine was doing some work in the medical field, and, you know, women are not easily, but sometimes women can be manipulated by using their emotions against them. So this particular lady, even though she had one type of credential, she had a person of a higher credential saying, hey, well, look, you can get experience doing this. All you got to do is come on these in-home health visits with me, and I'll show you how to do this type of work. But here's the thing, your job description says one thing. So that's not official experience. What's happening was this lady was getting used and exploited by somebody in a higher rank with the actual credentials, position, and pay. But he had her silly well, let me not call it silly, but uninformed, naive. Man, she had good intentions, she did, but she was being silly, like I was being silly, by letting this principal exploit me. Because see, I'm not being judgmental. It happens to us all. But just like J. Cole decided to say, wait a minute, I see I'm being used for some unscrupulous measures and means. Let me back away from this. You pay attention to your surroundings, what's being said, what's being not said, who's profiting from a situation, who's protecting their ass while you putting your ass on the line in the situation, and you learn when to back away. Follow policy, do it in a smart way, protect yourself, but know when it's time to back away. Know when it's time to say no. And as always, never lose the will to win, never lose the will to survive.